Welcome to the show. Hi, I'm Randy Jeffers, and we are live from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, we have a really special show for you today. We have an old friend of mine, Mr. Ian Young. Ian, welcome. Great to have you on the show.
Glad to be here, Randy, and great to see you.
Absolutely. So tell us about your company. You're an entrepreneur and
Yes.
been in business for many, many years, doing a lot of different kinds of things. But what's your current venture?
Well, my current venture is really the same venture that I've been on forever.
Uh-huh.
And I'm excited about so many things that are, so many ventures that are just coming together right now. It's just been an amazing year already.
Uh-huh.
One of the things I just want to get this out of the way right away
Okay.
is I am the Global Creative Arts Foundation.
Global Creative Arts. Okay.
That's the name. That's the name, which will be changed
Well, that's a pretty
when I
pretty
come
good
out
name.
with it. But it's
So what is
it's
the
for
Global
real.
Creative Arts Foundation?
Well, as I said, for years I've been working with humanitarian causes, doing things particularly to help people. And the way I try to help people is we get the money game out of the way so they can live their passion for each and every one of them. Like entrepreneurs, you heard starving artists and actors and actresses that have to take these crazy jobs,
Yeah.
and that they can't even go on an audition. They're too beat up from trying to make ends meet
Yeah.
and survive, that they don't have time for their creativeness. So we have business systems that come out that are working, where you can take a couple minutes a day, maybe on a computer or whatever, and maybe 6 minutes a day, and cover all your expenses and stuff. So this way, you can have that time
Yeah.
to build your passion, work on your arts, and have that creativeness without having that over your head.
Now I know you've been involved in the home-based business world for
Absolutely.
many years, and so is that kind of what we're talking about?
Yeah,
Okay,
but
some
not
of
just that.
So some of these would be home-based, where they can
Oh,
work
yeah.
from home,
Yeah,
or
this-
some of them are maybe network marketing companies.
Absolutely, we use network marketing when it fits.
Uh-huh.
We just use really what we want. What the idea here. Remember, I said, live your passion. So it's really what works for you.
Yeah.
What works for you.
I love that. I love it when people are passionate about something, and everybody obviously should live their passion. I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And another thing with the humanity, the cry for humanity right now, but actually it's been a long time cry, forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that led me to you. With the orphanages and things that you were doing, and
Yeah.
it was so much in line with what I always wanted to do and what I now do. As I support a lot of different orphanages and things around the world, and not just in overseas or anything. Right here in the U.S., I mean, actively loading semis full of trucks that were going to Texas, and then when the
Wow.
big
For
semi
the
trucks
for the hurricanes that.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. We sent more than 8 trucks out there,
Wow.
raising, getting the food and everything together right here. I'm working with a whole lot of different pastors, and on that,
Uh-huh.
a lot of the trucks that we send is Jesus Christ is Lord on the side with Pastor Ruben Bayo, and oh my goodness, he's So I work with a lot of different pastors, not only Christian organizations, but whoever, I work with people to fill the need.
Well, that's
And
fabulous.
That was
Now-
just some of the things.
Now I know you have an old friend of yours that you've done a lot of things with, and I think he has you guys have set up an orphanage in the Philippines. Is that
Oh,
right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. That would be the Children's Haven with Dr. Thomas Stone,
Uh-huh.
and we're recently expanding that into a huge giving. That's the way I just want to put that for now.
Yeah.
As that's coming together in such a big way, and I'm sure he'll be delighted to fill you in on more of that. But that's yet to come. That's in the works, and Dr.
Good.
Tom has been helping people with their health and using Nikola Tesla's technology as well as other things to for healing.
Uh-huh. Well, I'll be delighted to find more about that for sure. Now, as a giver, And I love talking to people that are givers, people that are humble in what they do, and people that, connect others and just want to do good things for people. And, how did all that happen with you? How did you get started being such a giver?
Well, it happened. It's been my life's work.
Yeah.
It's been my life. That's my life's work. And
Have you always been a giver? Did you grow up that way?
yeah, I believe so. But it became more of a passion, and more of that I understood it when I first moved to California around '89.
Uh-huh.
That's when I got into personal development, and that's really what brought it out, through personal development. And I've done extensively quite a bit of that, and I still do. And that's one of the things that we really do is teach people through that.
Now, I know you've worked with a couple of the really big names in the motivational field.
More than a couple.
Yeah.
And I continue to, and I'm actually going to be calling them in right now for what's happening right now in this whole realm.
This whole realm of
Things
what
are
you're
coming around so beautifully. We're not only going to feed, we are already feeding a lot of people, as you know, and then health, wealth, and all around living for giving, and that's the philosophy by we go.
You said living for giving.
Well, making a living giving,
Uh-huh.
and making a living living. And that was really the tagline of a beautiful humanitarian company that it was the world's first network marketing company that was humanitarian, and it was called Hub. Humanity Unites Brilliance. And right now, I want to say the hubbies don't fly under that flag anymore. They've all kind of disbanded and are doing great things around the world. But some of the things that we did do is we teamed up with Larry Jones, Feed the Children. One time
Larry.
we were doing, you remember him?
Yes, of course.
And so we were at one year in December, we were going around, we were doing something called Miracle on Main Street. I'll never forget that. And we went around to 7 different cities and gave out food and supplies and toys.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they came to when we finally did it in Los Angeles, in downtown South Central, I remember pulling up there, and I had my daughter with me helping me. I might get emotional, but anyway, we pulled up. As we pulled up in the morning, it wasn't even daybreak yet, and there was a line out there. As we pulled up, there was a line out there that was, I don't even know how wide, but it went as far as the eye can see. They must have camped out all night or something. And then all these red trucks in the middle of the street, all the way lined up, all these semis that said, big red trucks that feed the children on the side of it. Oh my goodness. So we pulled up in there, but that morning, at 10 o'clock at night, we were still giving out food, and we still had so much. But here's the thing, the toys, they weren't no little rinky-dink toys. They were like remote
Real
controls,
toys.
and
Wow.
I mean, they were awesome. And just to see that and giving it out, it was like 40 pounds worth of food to everyone. And at the end of the night, at the 10 o'clock at night, people were still giving it out, but we had so much food that the Salvation Army couldn't even handle it, so we're calling up all the food banks and everything. We gave out more food that day than was ever given out in U.S. history. That was just one of the things
And that was with Larry Jones.
That was Larry.
part
Yeah,
of
we
that.
teamed up with Larry Jones and some other organizations.
Yeah.
But that was Hub, Humanity Unites Brilliance, and that was just one of the things that came about with Hub. Hub was really ahead of its time, and somehow I fall into things that are ahead of their time.
Yeah.
And so it's that's been a battle.
Well, you're a creative thinker, see?
But it's
creative. Say the name of that. Say the name again.
Global Creative Arts Foundation.
Yeah, Global Creative Arts Foundation.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's because, and I'm very excited about the new happenings here in Las Vegas. We're starting a school for actors and actresses. I just touched on that a little bit with you, and I'm very excited about that. We are going to be here in Vegas, and this is what we're doing. This is the vision of of the folks that I'm with who are very good, good in the film industry. I just want to say good
Yeah.
because they are. But they want to make Las Vegas the new Hollywood, like the early days of Hollywood, where Hollywood was the place, and still is, the known for
Sure.
movies and everything.
Everybody all over the world knows
Well,
Hollywood.
we're making Las Vegas the new Hollywood with that, and so I'm really looking forward to introducing them to you, and what we're about to do there is,
Well, it's
is
fabulous.
just incredible.
I know there's a big movie studio that's going to be built in the southern end of the Las Vegas Boulevard this next year, I believe. So, lots of movie things happening here. A lot of Hollywood people coming here.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that has been my driving force behind the scenes all the time is actually that. Because from the time I was a little kid, I knew what I wanted, right? Even though I grew up in South Philadelphia and always loved horses and all that. And actually, by the time I was 16, I had my own horses and stuff. I had my car when I was 15, and I was the poorest kid in the neighborhood. I just outworked everybody around me, and that's what I did. I worked really hard because my dad died when I was 1, and my mother
my
was
goodness.
pregnant for my younger sister Neela, who's named after my dad, Neil Young. And my mother told me she raised 5 of us, and she wanted to be buried next to my father, and now she is. But anyway, yeah, I did it. I got my first horse when I was 16 because I already had my car. I was already. So not bad for a little guy, right? So I married young, and unfortunately, that's what I was working on. And first married, well, oh my goodness, I have a son and everything, and I was a young dad at that age, and I was on my way for good things. And then with the breakup of my family that I've been putting together from the time I was a little kid, I just, after that...
Had to take a hiatus.
I did. I took a good hiatus, but like I said, I already knew what I was working for from the time I was a little kid. By the time I was 16, I was a butcher on 9th Street, the Italian market in Philadelphia, when Rocky ran past. That's around the time when my son was born, and I could get into more stories about that, but I outworked everybody around me and excelled in every company that I went to, and I love the martial arts and things, and always wanted to be, Bruce Lee enthusiast. Who wasn't at that time, right?
Right.
But and now,
I met him, by the way.
Oh, you met Bruce. Well, I built with Grandmaster Eric Lee, not Bruce Lee. But years later, I worked with Grandmaster Eric Lee, who's in the film production and everything, and I helped him build his Dragons Network, which is his dream. And and so with that, anyway, we jumped from one thing to another, but that's all good.
Well, let me ask you a quick question, Ian. You mentioned that your father died when you were 1.
Yeah.
And
my dad was originator of the SEALs. My father. He was the youngest.
Really?
He was the youngest sailor on the luckiest ship in the Navy. They really loved my dad, and he was a demolition expert and everything. He was actually, like I said, he was the youngest sailor on the luckiest ship in the Navy, and fought the Japanese and stuff. And actually, when he came out of the Navy, when he was married with my mom, he turned around and my mother puts it that way, turned around and joined the Army without even telling her.
Oh,
So he was jumping out of planes and everything, but so he was originator of SEALs. There were no SEALs in those days. He was a frogman and all that, but he was, like I said, geared for all that, so he was doing a lot of things.
Well, sometimes life just isn't fair for a whole lot of people, and obviously that shouldn't happen to anybody, but it happened to you. And who in your life sort of was a surrogate father for you early on? Did you have a surrogate father, somebody that sort of...
No. What I did have were, like I said, I started working at an early age.
Uh-huh.
So I used to look at my bosses like they were my dad.
Yeah. And they were pretty good bosses? Must have been, huh?
Well, most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, up until a point, yeah. And so I learned, that's the way I learned.
So later on, you probably had more mentors. You had other people
Oh yeah,
that
that's
that
why.
sort of,
That's why especially when I got into personal development a lot deeper, when I did come out to California, then as I said, personal development. I read all the books. Mark Victor Hansen, co-author Chicken Soup for the Soul, and Jack
sure,
Canfield.
I know Mark Victor.
All the top names of people, and Mark is one of my has always been one of my I want to say one of my closest, bestest mentors, and I have a lot more now because of Mark. He introduced me in person to so many, and I actually introduced a lot of people to him.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I always, like, back in the day, like 20 years ago, whatever, one of the movements that is going on now wasn't even heard of then, and that was women entrepreneurs. And the only one talking about women entrepreneurs really was Robert Kiyosaki's wife, Kim, and she was the only one talking about it. And I remember hearing that, and then I don't know, but somehow maybe it just comes from trying to help mom or having 3 sisters, whatever. I'm always introducing powerful women, women to women, right, so they can work together. And it's a funny thing because now I know a lot of the top women entrepreneurs, and a lot of them know me from just doing that or just learning from them. But that's something that I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
And maybe it comes from helping mom, but some of the top women like Sharon Lecter and things, and I'm with Napoleon Hill Foundation. Some of the top companies that we all go and to go for the rallies and go for the masterminds, and
Sure.
man, oh man, it's just incredible. And a lot of my good friends already, are already speaking at United Nations and different things, and I'm just always trying to help out behind the scenes however I can.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's been. I've been behind the scenes, just helping.
So Ian, if you could pick one person, who would you say has impacted your life the most?
One person besides my mother.
Well, you can say your mother, sure.
Well, I would have to say that.
Okay. Well, that's
Because
good.
she's the one that, brought me, and yeah, my mom.
Okay, now let's do besides your mother. Who would you pick?
Ooh. That is. Now we are talking besides very Christ-driven. So
pick.
we are talking besides Jesus Christ
Sure. Let's just say people
in form,
yeah,
in physical.
yeah.
Boy. Impacted my life the most out of one person. I don't know, I'm racing back through time on here. I was thinking of my old boss, Sam, grocery store when I was like 12, 13, or 11, 12, 13. I worked
Well,
out.
let's use Sam as an example. So,
Okay.
what was so special about Sam? What did he have that most people don't have?
He had a great nature and a sense and a fairness and a humor about him. Good family man and provider, and him and his wife were really good. They were really just nice family, good people.
Mhm.
And they had a grocery store in the neighborhood, South Philadelphia, where I grew up. A&S's, and Ann and Sam, and I worked for them as a stock boy, grocery boy.
When you were 12?
Oh, I was younger then. When I
Even
first-
younger. Wow.
Well, yeah, and I worked for them for about 5 years after school and stuff, and they were just so supportive and really good people.
Yeah. Isn't it great to have somebody like that you can look back on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember.
Well, that's fabulous. So let's sort of fast forward into the present time, and and even into the future if you can think that
Oh,
far ahead.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
what do you see happening to you in your life in the next 4 or 5 years?
Right now is making a tremendous, I gotta say, impact, helping a lot of people come through stuff, and actually myself recovering from my second divorce and loss of everything again. I say I lost everything, but really my daughter lost everything in my second marriage, and that's something I'm working on. But what I do see is as I said, I've been working with a lot of different things behind the scenes, and now it's really time to, I'm going to say, take the stage and really make it happen. So we are very, very effective in having an impact and changing, helping a lot of people, and we're bringing it out through film, teaching through film, and that's what I've been really saying since the time I was a little kid. I already had that vision, because the people that are my main, if you want to say my main, the people that are my mentors, that I really want to, I love Walt Disney. They're the mentors that and Walt Disney is one of the the main things of his life, and so that's one of them. So it's kind of like what he did, and bring that all forward.
That's fabulous. Now you mentioned a few things that happened in your life, some trials and tribulations, right? Some things.
Yeah.
What do you think is the secret to moving past those things? I'm sure there's people watching us right now that, because we all have things that happen in our life, right?
Absolutely.
And sometimes, sometimes you just can't see a way out. That happens to some people. But what's the secret to not letting those circumstances, be on top of you, and turn it around so that you're on top of the circumstances? How do you do that?
Well, one thing is, it's going to happen. It's going to happen to everybody, and it always does. And when it does, I want to say, just get up. And I love the way Les Brown says that if you could look up, you could get up, and you got to be hungry and all that. I mean, everybody loves Les Brown who knows him. And
I just talked to Les Brown last week, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Well, I didn't talk to him in a little while, but I remember it's only been a couple of years. But I remember when I first met him, we were actually at a screening for Hub. Hub made a movie called The Compass, and that's when I first met Les, and it was when he was in between having his trials, and he was telling me about his son, who at the time was very, very young. And his son went through hip hop and everything, and all that, and that was pretty neat, because I was going to try and help him, get back up and going, because I was doing what I was doing, same thing. And so, anyways, but Les Brown, I love the way he says that. If you could get up, you could look up, you could get up. So that's part of it. But really, it's having faith and having faith, and I always look up to God and Jesus and that, and for every single person to really just take a look, just get up and just don't give up, like Winston Churchill says, never give up.
Never give up.
Just keep going no matter what.
Yeah.
That's all, because that's all you can do.
That's right, exactly. Well, obviously there's some people that are really important in your life, and is there anyone out there that you'd like to say something to that maybe you haven't had a chance to say in person? And if there is, feel free to do that.
Well, especially to my daughter and my grandchildren, that I didn't even get a chance to talk about, because I didn't get a chance to see them. I've just been working really hard since since my mother got sick, and I kept wrapping up everything and shooting back to Philly and all that, and trying to make that happen.
Yeah.
And now that she's passed, still trying to work out where I can have time to be with my family and to bring them up. And so, Just let them know that I'm still working for them.
Well, they're right there. Just look right into the camera and say whatever you'd like to say.
Well, I can't wait to see you guys again, and we're gonna be together having fun. That's all I can
Right.
say. I just want to have fun. Mhm.
Good. Well, good for you. So, so you got a lot of plans, a lot of humanitarian causes that you're working with right now, and I want to touch on something that I know you've been involved in. You've been involved in something that's been talked about. It's a big hot thing right now, and that's cryptocurrency.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people talking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you've been involved in it for quite some time, right?
Yeah.
Kind of got in in the early days.
Mm-hmm. I was actually gifted some when in 2010.
Now, was this a Bitcoin?
Yeah, it was Bitcoin.
Okay.
Because that's all that really existed then. It was still
Yeah.
an idea at that point. Yeah, I was gifted some, and honestly, people weren't taking it serious or anything. And at the time, I was looking at it, but I actually put that information from the e-wallet systems into my storage when I went traveling, so I still have to find it's like a needle in a haystack. But I've been naturally in and out. I want to say with the evolution of cryptocurrency all along.
Mhm.
And now it's kind of like Wild Wild West, it's happening here and here and there. And I'm so happy about that because we are using it to help all of our, not only our charities and everything, but around the world. It's just, we can send the money right to them. They could use it. They're using it for currencies, everywhere. And that's I'm very excited about crypto.
Now, you've been involved in, there's a number of, actually there's many, I guess, home-based business companies that have sprouted up in that field, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you've been involved in a whole bunch of those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just look at everything. I'm just always looking for the best
Uh-huh.
and what's sustainable and what, how we could use that to help humanity, to help our orphanages, to help just everyday people.
Are you involved in any right now that you want to recommend?
Yeah, I do want to recommend. I'm not sure if I'm okay. I can say it.
You can say
Okay,
sure.
I do
Just you and me here.
highly recommend. I highly recommend Bit Club.
Bit Club.
Bit Club,
Okay.
yeah. Bit Club. I highly recommend it. And if there's anybody who wants to learn about crypto,
Mhm.
I have other platforms as well. You can start with no money out of pocket with me. We earn while we learn. The thing is to learn it.
Yeah.
And sure, you can make money and grow, of course. You put more skin in the game, of course. But I start people with no money out of pocket, earn while you learn, if I need to.
Yeah.
If I need to, and that's what we do. That's what we do. Just help people, and they can start from wherever they are. So that's why I'm always looking at different opportunities.
Mhm.
With that in that, and so I have some right now that are just God sent, and I'm bringing people on with no money out of pocket or very little out of pocket when it comes to the world of cryptocurrency. But I also have other things. As you know, I'm very up with if you want to say medical marijuana, you can. I'm more interested in what we're doing with hemp, and not only.
Now, when you're talking about hemp and medical marijuana, you're
I'm talking about the CBD.
The CBD part of it, okay,
Yeah.
and that's the medicinal part that helps a lot of different things, right? Especially seizures. It's really
that's
amazing for
and
seizures.
we're we have we're helping with the vets and everyone and not just the vets. There's just such a need for it,
Mhm.
and then on the food side end of things, all the organic and all. That's what we're talking about with. When I'm talking about hemp and even medical marijuana and stuff, I'm talking about the organic, not treated, not anything, and when it comes to food or anything, like we're growing our own food and everything, and so it's like non-GMO and all organic, and all we're coming out with more and more and more of that. The whole industry we're actually feeding. So there's tremendous opportunities at this time for anyone, and I want to say especially for those people that are or blessed to have this opportunity at this time. What I mean by that is paraplegics, people that with deficiencies, or they're being. I have positions for it. We can everybody. This is, giving. It's giving.
Absolutely. Well, if someone out there is wanting to learn from you, get a hold of you, and find out more about what you're doing, and maybe team up with you in some way, how would they be able to do that?
Well, I'd like to give them an 800 number, but I don't have it right now.
You have an email address?
Should I say email?
Sure. Just give me
Okay. I'll state my email if anybody wants to. Please do. I'm really looking for people to partner up with, team up with, and learn and grow together. Yeah,
Okay.
make a living giving and make a living living. Non-competitive part that I learned with CEO Space International, which is where cooperative capitalism was born. It's where one candle could light another candle and we light the world. No need to compete. Competing is not where we have to be for what this. We have to get together and work together. So I'm always looking to work together with anybody. So if you have a pen, paper, my favorite email is PHP, stands for People Helping People, and then Diamond, DIAMOND, because we all like diamonds, and we know how diamonds are formed. So it's phpdiamond at Gmail. I like Gmail.
So phpdiamond at gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
Okay.
And reach out to me. And
just say, hey, Ian, I saw you. And
I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
Ian Young, not old.
Young, not old.
Young,
Right.
not old. On
That's
Facebook, too. Yeah.
Well, that's fabulous. Well, what other secrets do you want to tell us? What's the secret to success that you've learned? Any little tidbits there for us?
Live your passion. Always follow your heart. Always follow your heart and live your passion.
Why do you think that's so important?
Well, I can sum it up, and even if we look in a couple books, for instance, like Mark Victor Hansen, Robert Allen co-hosted the book Cash in the Flash, right? And that was your wow. They used a formula, like the formula to success, and that was the sequel to the 1 Minute Millionaire. I'm using this as an example because the 1 Minute Millionaire showed a way where there's a lot of firsts with that book too, by the way, but that showed a formula, the keys, that showed the keys to making a lot of money in a short period of time because they had to, right? So it shows a system and exactly what you do. Told in a story, told in both ways. Actually, it's the first book that was written of its kind, and naturally with Mark and Robert Allen. But anyway, they one side of the book was saying like the technical part that it took to do that. The other part was the story. Jesus taught in parables, so that's when I learned that I learn better from stories, and that we do. But anyway, that's how that 1 Minute Millionaire was, and the sequel being Cash in the Flash, Fast Cash in Slow Times. And there's, all my friends are in the book, but the thing is that your wow, and in the, that's what I say, living your passion, and you're only really going to do what applies for you.
Right.
And that's what's going to get you up in the morning, and that's what's going to get you past everything, and that's what's going to find your success. It's what's in you, and that's and stick to it.
So what if someone is out there listening to us and they go, I love that. I want to live my passion.
Come on.
But I don't know what my passion is.
Well, that's.
How do you find your passion?
yeah. How do you find your passion? Well. How do you find your passion? I think you take what makes you happy. What makes you happy, Yeah. What makes you happy? And
Now, what if what makes me happy, though, doesn't produce a lot of money?
that's when the business systems come in.
Okay.
Because when I was saying about living your passion isn't making you money, so we have other business systems, like it might be network marketing too for you, might not, might be something easy that you could do a few minutes a day, get that out of the way, so you can go after your passion. And that's exactly
Wow.
what.
So you're telling me that there are things out there that you can really do in just a few minutes a day and be able to generate income that will allow you to go out and do the things you really love.
Absolutely, more than any other time in the world, in our history, more than ever. And you could say that for every step of the way in time, because of technology and speed of the internet, and now speed of digital money. Moving of being able to move wealth in seconds, different things like that. Yeah, and it's all obvious. It's right there.
All right, so if somebody wants to know about that, once again, all you have to do is send an email to phpdiamond@gmail.com, right?
Absolutely.
So you explained that well enough that I won't have to forget that. So phpdiamond@gmail.com. Just say, hey, Ian, I want to know more.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
they
that's
can leave their phone number and you'll call them back.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll answer. Everyone will be answered, no doubt. Yeah.
Well, passions are a wonderful thing, and dreams are amazing, and of course that's part of what you do, right? Is you help people to accomplish their dream, and but first you got to know what it is, and so sometimes it's a good idea to take a little time for yourself and really think through those things. Think about the things that are really important to you.
That's it.
Yeah, because a lot of times we get so caught up in life that you blink your fingers or click your fingers a couple times and blink your eyes a few times, and all of a sudden years go by.
Exactly.
And you haven't even thought about your dreams, and so it's really important to do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, if you could pinpoint one special dream that you have that's like above everything else, what would that be?
Being a great father.
Okay, explain that.
Well, being I didn't have one, or in physical presence, I always look up for everything. And so I always wanted to be the best at that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I model, the people that I model. And I still strive to be. I'm still learning and growing to be that. So
Now, that's an emotional subject for you.
very.
When you're sort of bearing your soul here. It's just you and me here. I mean, maybe, a bunch of other people watching us, but it's sometimes nice to do that, isn't it? Because other people can be impacted by it. Yeah.
Well, and I do think that, I'm sure that there's almost every other father out there wants to be. And I commend them on that. And moms are the greatest gift. And that's the greatest, that's why I just want to support women and support mom, and it comes from that. But getting back to the family, I always say the Christian family, coming up that way, So, like I said, I was never taught, or never, I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And my mom always just wanted to be buried next to my father, so she never, I never had a male figure around me like that, as a stepfather or anything like that. And and I always thought that I was going to get married, and it was, that was be my family. I didn't
Live
ever
happily
think
ever
I'd have
after.
it,
Yeah.
one divorce, let alone two.
Yeah.
And I married my childhood sweetheart with everything figured out.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted a big family, 10 kids, the works. You know, maybe the people used to joke with me, say that's why she divorced you, whatever. You know. but anyway, that was the dream that I had from the time I was a little kid, and
Sure.
then I did you know, get married again to pass, you know, to do that, you know, finally fulfill that. And geez, what happened? You know.
Yeah.
So here I am, you know, at it. I wouldn't say at it again. Still building that, you know, and trying to do that. So.
Well, let me ask you. I'll just do one more kind of
Okay.
personal question,
All
if you
right.
don't mind. But
I don't mind.
you know, you've lived through your life without something that a lot of people take for granted, and that is having a father in your life. And you know, you lost yours at 1 year old, and I can't imagine that. But having gone through all of that and having lived your life without that, what advice do you have for the fathers out there that sort of take their families for granted? You know, a lot of fathers do, right?
Yeah.
Is there any special things, any advice you would give them?
Yeah. Don't do that. Yeah. Don't. Be, realize the gift that you have and the gift that you gave, and that they need you. And do well for your kids and your that. And, you know, one of the things that, again, I just have to get on to you know, the other thing that we've been battling for a long time, that, you know, one of the ways when I met you was with the human trafficking and how we're trying to make a difference in those worlds.
Yeah.
And I just want to say to everybody, you know, help. We need help. And dads, you need to help.
We can all do something, can't we?
Yeah.
You were telling me earlier when we met up today that you borrowed one of the things that I used to do when I opened events, right?
Yeah.
And we only have about 2 minutes left, but
Will you do it?
Go ahead and start that.
No, will you do it? Because I'm a little rusty on that. Will
Well,
you do it?
I used to start the events by doing this. Now, in that 6 seconds, some baby died because they don't have food. And what's really interesting about that is that we live in Las Vegas. 1 mile from here, you have some of the greatest hotels in the world, and you have chandeliers that maybe cost $1 million, and some baby dies. I mean, just think in the time, how many babies have died in the time we've been sitting here chatting. If every 6 seconds a baby dies somewhere in the world, and we have chandeliers that cost $1 million, something isn't quite right. And the point is that we can all do something, right? And so, you know, Ian, God bless you for what you're doing, and you know, you've done some amazing things. So, you know, it's fabulous to know you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Okay. We'll see you next week. Same time, same station. Bye-bye, everybody.